Sorry for being late. We're a little late today. Welcome back to another episode of Ty Sports Picks 24. I'm going to say it again. Ty Sports Picks 24. Now, if you looked at the title, will Clemson beat Georgia? A lot of people saying that Clemson is done because Dabo Swinney refuses to use the transfer portal. But guess what? He's still using the recruiting out of high school, and he's also using the development within his team. You know, because just because a player was on the team last year does not mean that freshman is the same sophomore or that sophomore is the same junior and so on. But we're going to get to that. Let's start with the picks. Now, first for MLB, you see it says MLB picks all money line. All money line. So we got Toronto Blue Jays. We got the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, and the Seattle Mariners, along with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, you know, basketball is back for the women, so we also going to have some WNBA picks. The picks are also in the description, so I'm going to give you a second to get these MLB picks, and then we'll move on to the basketball. Got my notes right here. All right, I think that's about enough time. If not, you know, you can always rewind and go back, and I'll bring them back up in a second. But let's get to the basketball. Now, this one, we're going to take spread. You see, it's all spread. All three of them spread because for whatever reason, the women basketball is a lot more reliable. So we're going to go with Phoenix, Seattle, and Connecticut Suns. The Connecticut Sun. So we're going with Phoenix, Seattle, and Connecticut for the WNBA. So in the WNBA, I want you to take the point spread on all three games. So we're going to have the Phoenix Mercury. We're going to have the Connecticut Sun. And then for Seattle, sorry, I just don't know you ladies mascots by heart. Have a technical deal. Okay, and Seattle, we got the Storm. So we got the Phoenix. No, I'm sorry. Actually, that's a typo. Forget I said that. Give me 1 second. Actually, we're going to drop Phoenix because this show is live. So, you know, you guys work with me. We're going to drop Phoenix, and we're actually going to go with the Indiana Fever because they're at home. So, sorry, it is not Phoenix. I hope you guys didn't put those picks in. It's actually the Indiana Fever, the Seattle Storm, and the Connecticut Sun, all spread. So on these, you can take spread or you can take money line or both. Well, yeah, we got the Indiana Fever, of course, with Caitlin Clark, you know, one of the stars of the league, her along with Angel Reese. And then we got Seattle Storm, and we got the Connecticut Sun. So now let's get to the show. Let's get to the topic. Now, everybody's been saying that Clemson is on life support. They went 9-4. I believe before that, they were like 10-3, 11-3. And that's life support. Okay, wow. It must be nice, you know, to win 9-10 games, and they saying that it's over with for you. But Dabo Swinney, he was winning before the transfer portal. He refuses to use the transfer portal. For one, he recruits kids and talks to their parents and promises to make sure they graduate. That's why they have the top graduation rate of all Power 4 schools at a 99% chance that if you send your recruit to Clemson, they'll become a professional in life. Maybe not in football, but always in life because they're all graduating except for maybe 1%, but nobody's perfect. I'm trying to fix my shirt, you know. It's kind of tilting. I should have took his undershirt off, but it's all good. You know, nobody perfect. But anyway, dang. Well, we'll just roll with it. We'll roll with it. We'll roll with it. Dang. But anyway, yeah. If you pull up the Clemson roster, you'll see they got a lot of blue chip guys because the big problem that they had last year was with the quarterback being a true sophomore that only had, I believe, one start, and then he played a lot in the ACC championship game. So he played like really backup, and then he played majority 1.5 games. Was Cade Klubnik, a 5-star, but he didn't perform up to that level. So it was a lot of people that were, you know, having their reservations about Cade Klubnik coming into this year. Now, he did have a first-year offensive coordinator, but it was his first year starting, but it wasn't the same offense that he learned as a freshman backing up DJU. But he does return a potential all-ACC running back in Phil Moffitt. The big question is going to be with Jay Hayes, the redshirt freshman, and Keith Adams, the sophomore. Can they help out Phil Moffitt? Because he's a big guy. He's like about 6'1", 6'2", 230 plus pounds. So that's a lot on him to carry the ball all game long. But he is very effective. It's hard to tackle Phil Moffitt. He's a problem. On top of that, then they've solved their wide receiver problem. They already had Troy Stellato. He's a Florida native. He done a lot of good things since he's been there. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Cardinal Gibbons, but he's more of your possession receiver, move the sticks. And then they had Tyler Brown, a true freshman that's now a sophomore in the slot. But they didn't really have those traditional Clemson, Sammy Watkins, Mike Williams, Justin Ross, et cetera, et cetera. But I know what your pushback is going to be when I tell you the new receiver they have. You're going to be like, oh, they're only freshmen. No, these are Clemson freshmen. And other than the quarterback position, which with the exception of Trevor Lawrence, mostly every position, because Dabo Swinney is such a developmental guy, they're freshmen, especially when they come in the spring or even in the fall. They're ready to play at least midway through the season. And they're hearing a lot of buzz right now coming out of camp about TJ Moore, the 5-star out of the Tampa area, and also the other 5-star or 4-star receiver, Brian Wesco Jr. out of Texas. These guys are already running with the twos. They're rotating with the ones. Brian Wesco stands at 6'2", about 175, 180 out of Texas. And then we also have the Tampa native, TJ Moore, standing at 6'3", 190. No, he's actually, originally from Key West, but he went to Tampa Catholic. So these two guys are very effective. They're saying they're doing a lot of good things. And, they're going against the top talent because despite the offensive struggles, they went 9-4 and 10-3 because Clemson's defense is always shut down. The offensive line has improved, they're saying out of camp, but you still have TJ Parker returning and Peter Woods returning. These are true sophomores, so you're going to have to deal with these guys 2 more years. They're solid on the inside with Peyton Page, and they're solid with DeMonte Capehart. But Vic Burley, which was one of the top guys in their last year recruiting class, is coming back, along with them having backups like Trey Williams, along with Green, number 90, and they're having AJ Hoffer. Sorry, trying to look at the phone and look at you guys at the same time. Number 99. And then we all know about Clemson's DBs. Even the backups are highly recruited and just well-coached guys. And then another guy to look out for, Barrett Carter, which is going to be probably an All-American linebacker, along with Kobe McLeod, and then Sammy Brown, which they're trying to get on the field because he was the top linebacker in the country by some recruiting sites last year. So it's a lot going on. So that's why the question comes. When it comes down to talent, they're almost equal because the offense is being fixed. Because even if Cade Klubnik can't step up, if you saw the spring game, you saw a guy that actually a former walk-on, I believe, but he's a redshirt sophomore. That's quick to get a scholarship as a walk-on. I've seen walk-ons get scholarships, but he got his quick, and he was an all-state quarterback and turned down some small schools. And I'm speaking of Trent Pierman out of Clemson, South Carolina. He's actually a local. He's about 6'1", 6 foot even, 190, but he's very tough. He's very decisive with the ball. He was making plays on that same great defense inside the spring game. Some people say he outplayed Cade Klubnik, but some were saying, well, playing against the ones, playing against the twos. Hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I saw with my own 2 eyeballs, Trent Pierman, if Cade Klubnik cannot get it done, can come in the game and he can be a real factor. And I think defenses should hope that Cade Klubnik plays well enough to keep his job because I feel like Pierman may be more dangerous than Klubnik. That's just my personal opinion. He's mobile. They're both mobile. They both can throw the ball well. Klubnik may be having a better arm or better arm talent, but I think the accuracy with Pierman and just the decisiveness, he has that Baker Mayfield in him. He just has that that cowboy in him where he'll gunslinger, but at the same time, he protects the ball a little bit better. He threw an interception, I believe, maybe once in the spring game. But I believe he scored like twice. He's big time. He's box office to me. He reminds me of Haynes King from Georgia Tech, which was another guy that was kind of slept on last year, and he proved it on the field. So will Clemson beat Georgia is the question. I'm going to do a Clemson season preview in the shorts pretty soon after this. But if you don't want to wait for that, go check out my Georgia preview if you're just thirsty and you can't wait. But will Clemson beat Georgia? That's August. No. Is it August 31st? I know it's a week 1 matchup. Just give me 1 second. But Clemson versus Georgia, LSU versus USC, Miami versus Florida, Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. It's a lot of big games on that first week because, guys want to know those big time games on their schedule. Okay, yes, it's actually the first game on August 31st. Before you see Miami and Florida, it's going to kick off at noon. Yes, at noon with Clemson and Georgia. And I believe that's in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where Georgia actually doesn't play very well. Clemson plays better than them at that neutral site. So this is a rivalry game. They're rekindling the Clemson and Georgia rivalry. And the biggest thing to look for is Kirby Smart is a Monday through Friday coach. Dabo Swinney is a Monday through Friday and a second halftime adjustment coach. Can Kirby Smart beat Dabo Swinney head up with no Nick Saban to help him and them having equal or just a little bit less of equal talent? See, it's one thing when Clemson is down. And even when Clemson was starting to fall, one of Georgia's hardest games, I believe in 21, was against Clemson, and that was with a struggling offense. If Clemson has anything like that old school Clemson offense, they already got the running game. They already got a pretty good tight end. They got Stellato. They got Brown. Now they have these 2 5-star, 4-star wide receivers. I'm sure at least one of them is going to pop, but they're saying both of them are going to pop. So Westco can go, and then Moore can go. That can be trouble. That can really be trouble. So will Clemson beat Georgia? That's the question. Now let's move on to the next topic. The top offensive lines. See, a lot of people talk about offensive line this. But, when I was coming up, that wasn't really the sexy position. Sometimes people would hide their jerseys when they go to school, in high school, middle school, if you had, the 75, 76, the 63. But offensive linemen are getting paid a lot of money because it's a passing league and you got to protect the quarterback, even in college. So these are the top, according to Athlon.com, these are the top offensive lines in college football. So we're going to start off with the University of Georgia. I know they're known for defensive lines. They're known for linebackers, even DBs. But yes, they have the number 1 ranked offensive line coming in the year, according to Athlon Sports. Then after Georgia, you're going to have LSU coming in with the preseason All-American Will Campbell. He actually is so good that they actually had a 5-star lineman that had to transfer and go to Tennessee. We're going to speak on him later. But yeah, look out for Will Campbell and look out for Emory Jones at the tackles, because they have a really stout line. They also have Miles Frazier and they have Garrett Dillinger. And they even have a freshman at center that they're confident in, DJ Chester. So for all of you guys that say, oh, he's a freshman, he can't play this, that, and the third. Clemson isn't the only school that plays freshmen. A lot of the big-time programs that recruit well and also coach well, they're not afraid to let their young pups go out there. I hear a lot of people say, oh, we need proven guys. No, you need proven guys because you can't coach. If you really can coach, then coach them up and put them out there, All right, then we got Texas. Steve Sarkisian's Texas. They also have a stout line being led by guys like Cameron Williams, also having Hayden Connor and DJ Campbell. So look out for those guys. You also should look out for Jake Major. And also, I didn't mention any individuals from Georgia. So let's go back to number 1 for a second. On Georgia, you got to look out for Dylan Fairchild. You got to look out for Xavier Truss at tackle. Let's also look out for Jared Wilson. So it's a lot going on at Georgia. They're trying to replace guys like Cedric Van Pran and Amarius Mims. So it looks like Georgia has reloaded because they lost some big-time players on the offensive line, and they're still ranked number 1. When we go to number 4, we got the Oregon Ducks. Yes. They return starter Marcus Harper. They also have guard from Indiana, Matthew Bedford. At center, they got consensus All-American Jackson Powers Johnson. No, I'm sorry. He left to the NFL, but who's replacing him? They got guys like Ipani Lalolu. I'm sorry I messed up your name. Got to get the hula hoops out. Shout out to my Samoans and my Hawaiians. You always got those names that really test our hooked on phonics and our pronunciation skills. Can you pronounce a Hawaiian or a Samoan name? Yeah. But they also return guys like Josh Connerly Jr. and Johnny Cornelius. Yeah. Then number 5. Yeah, they're known for it. Roll Tide. Yeah, they got the number 5 offensive line see, they had some struggles last year, but see, they had a young pup out there that was bad at first, but then he was freshman all SEC, and Caden Proctor. He took a little vacation to Iowa and then decided to bust a U-turn. They also have Tyler Booker, which is among the nation's best returning linemen. They also have Washington transfer Parker Brailsford that played in the national championship for Coach Kalen DeBoer when they were at Washington. They also expect a lot out of Jaden Roberts and Elijah Pritchett. Yeah, Elijah Pritchett and Wilkin Formby. So look out for those guys. Then bottoming out the top 10, we got Tennessee, go Vols. Lance Hurd, that's the guy that transferred from LSU. He actually played a little because of some injuries to guys like Will Campbell, but he wants to be a full-time starter as a true sophomore because he made freshman All-American also. Then you got Jalen Rivers and Francis Malinoa leading the number 7 offensive line for the U. Yeah, Miami has an offensive line, and they have the ACC Player of the Year at quarterback for the preseason Cam Ward. So we got a line that's going to block. It's top 10 offensive line, and you got the number 1 quarterback. But for them Noel fans, don't be sad because you're right behind them, being led by Darius Washington, an Athlon preseason 3rd team All-American tackle. Yeah. So he's leading the way for that line at Florida State. And they got a couple transfers, portal guys to fill in the blanks. So they're really confident in their line. Then Oklahoma State, they return all 5 starters. Yeah, and these starters only allowed 13 sacks all season long amongst those 5. So that's a heck of a starting 5 to return. It's majority seniors, so I'm sure they're going to be smart. They're going to be big, tough, energetic, and look out for the backups. Then Ohio State, they bottom out the top 10, being led by Josh Simmons. They also have Seth McLaughlin that was at Alabama last year. And then a couple other offensive lines to look out for is Missouri at 11, Clemson at 12. So I told you Clemson line is fixed. They're actually ranked now. So they believe what I believe. Then you got 13. You got West Virginia. Then you got Ole Miss at 14. Georgia Tech at 15. Wisconsin at 16. That's kind of low for Wisconsin. They're known for those lines. They may move up because remember they got 2 freshmen on the second team and a freshman tackle at right tackle on the first team. Then you got Kentucky at 17, Texas A&M at 18. You got Cincinnati at 19, Utah at 20, Minnesota at 21. 22 is North Carolina State. 23 is Boise State. 24 is Iowa State. And 25 is Michigan. That's kind of low for Michigan. I wouldn't believe that. They always got those big Husky guys in those Big Ten teams. So some of these teams may be ranked too low, especially those Midwest Big Ten teams. But now let's move on to the top receiving cores. Yeah, Athlon they doing it. They giving me a lot of material today. So we already saw the top offensive linemen. Now let's get to the receivers. Give me 1 second. Trying to load it up because I'm closing out the file from the offensive line. Let's get to the wide receiving core. Okay. And see, what I like about this, they showing Ole Miss their respect off the top because the person that's on the cover is Trey Harris. That's supposed to be the number 1 receiver in the SEC and maybe in the nation. But, Luther Burton from Missouri might have something to say about it. So shout out Trey from Ole Miss. But let's get it started. They got Oregon. Yeah, Oregon led by transfer Evan Stewart out of Texas A&M. In his career, he's had 91 catches. He's also had hold on 1 second. Computer going crazy. Yeah, we just got to roll with it. But yeah, Oregon is the number 1 receiving core. I know they, off the top of my head, I know they also have Tez Johnson. Yeah, these computers are unreliable. That's why you got to always have your notes and you got to always read before. Because, I'll talk about the wide receiver cores that I like while we're waiting on this. Miami has a ranked wide receiver core. I think it's ranked about 7. I don't know if that's too high or too low. You got Xavier Restrepo returning. You also got guys like Zay Horton. Okay, it's working. Yeah, but look out for Miami too. Look out for teams like Ole Miss. Look out for the Alabama receiving core. It's more of a group. Auburn has 2 guys. They got Coleman, and then they got the transfer for Penn State. But we'll get to that. Okay, so now the second receiving core, led by Biletnikoff, preseason award watch list guy, Emeka Ibuka. They also have the number one player as a freshman coming out from last year, Jeremiah Smith. He was the number one player, not number one wide receiver, number one player in the country. He's getting Randy Moss and Julio Jones, Terrell Owen comparison. So look out for Jeremiah Smith. They also have redshirt freshman Bryson Rogers. They have also another 5-star freshman, Mylan Graham, along with last year 5-star Brandon Ennis. So it's a lot going on in Columbus. Is the computer working for? Okay, now it's working. Okay, now number 3. You see Trey Harris right there. You see Ole Miss, baby. Number 3. They might need to boost us up to 1. I don't know about that Oregon thing. Okay, so now you got Trey Harris, all SEC wide receiver, preseason first teamer. Then, you know what? Let's go over his stats first. He had 54 catches for 985 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he almost got 1,000 yards with less than 60 catches. But let's move on. Okay, it's tripping on me again. Okay, so, but it's cool because I can roll with it. Another wide receiver group to look out for is Texas. Yes, Texas, because you know they went and got the top wide receiver from Alabama last year. Okay, now it's working. Yeah, so sometimes, man, you cannot rely on technology. Okay, so yeah. They also got the number 1 JUCO wide receiver, 5-star Deion Smith. We also have one of the top tight ends in the SEC, Caden Prescorn. And yeah, I went to Ole Miss. If you hear me say we, yeah, like DJ Khaled. Who? Yeah, we. Yeah, we the best. Ole Miss. Okay, but also they have former all SEC wide receiver Juice Wells, which he missed a lot of time last year, but in 22 when he was all SEC, he caught 68 catches for 928 yards and 6 touchdowns. So see, that's what I'm telling you about Trey. Trey had almost like more than 10 less catches and had similar yards and touchdowns. And that's taking nothing away from Juice because Juice has actually got bigger, so he's more physical, so he'll be a real problem. Also, they went and got a late transfer from Utah State, Micah Davis, that's going to help them on special teams. So it's a lot going on. They return a lot. They returned Jordan Watkins with 53 catches. And then you know they got the mind of Lane Kiffin. So let's move on to number 4, Missouri, led by Luther Burden. Some debate Trey Harris, Luther Burden, who's the number 1 receiver. We're going to see. But he had 86 catches, 1,212 yards, and 9 touchdowns. He's a St. Louis native, so that's why he stayed home and went to Missouri. But they also got the transfer from Oklahoma, Theo Wace, that had 49 passes caught for 682 yards. It doesn't show how many touchdowns. I don't know what they got something to hide. But, yeah, they got a lot of guys coming back. They got Micah Miller, who only caught 11 balls, but I guess they see him making a jump. Then you got Mookie Cooper. Let's go on to number 5. I told you. I'm not Nostradamus. Texas. Yes, Texas. I ain't making it up. Texas. Number 5. And the computer wasn't even working with a phone, but, you know, it's still the computer, smartphones. Well, anyway, Texas is a program that has a lot going on. They're getting Alabama transfer. They have 48 catches, 668 yards, and 4 touchdowns in Isaiah Bonds. But they should call him Isaiah Byrne because he is a road runner. Meet, he is gone. If you don't tackle him when he catch him, you'll tackle him in the end zone, baby. Yeah, you be tackling dust. Then they got another transfer from Oregon State, Silas Bolden. 54 catches, 746 yards is what he had last year. Then they got a Houston transfer. Matthew Golden had 38 grabs. Now, one thing I will say, it's a lot of transfers, but they do have Jonte Cook II, which is going to be a sophomore. And then they have Ryan Wingo, which is the 5-star from this past year, from the 2024 class. So we're going to see what's going on. They're probably going to have to pass it a lot because they're down. They're starting running back and their backup running back. So now they're down to a true freshman 5-star running back, and they moved one of their wide receivers to running back. But they do have Alabama's former tight end, Amari Niblack, that had 20 catches, 327 yards. So they got a lot of stealing coming from Alabama. Okay, now, Georgia, though they lost Lad McConkey and Brock Bowers, they're still ranked number 6 as a receiver unit because you got one of the top quarterbacks in Carson Beck, and then you got the U transfer, Kobe Young, and then you got Oscar Delp at a tight end along with Ben Urosek. And then you got Dylan Bell and Dominic Lovey. Man, some of these people got some names on them. Okay, then Colorado, yeah, I ain't hard to find. Coach Prime, yeah. They coming this year. Like he said, we coming. LaJohntay Webster from FAU, and then Will Shepherd from Vanderbilt. Don't let Vanderbilt fool you. Vanderbilt doesn't have at the trenches the offensive defensive line. But as far as skill position players, Miami seen it with the Rashard kid at DB. Jadaeus Rashard, which I feel like Jadaeus Rashard is a better safety, and I feel like Markeith Williams is a better corner. They should switch. I'm going to talk about that later, but this isn't about the U. Everything ain't about us. Okay, Colorado, yeah. They also have Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn Jr. at wide receiver, and they got the number one quarterback to some, Shedeur Sanders. So we're going to see with that improved line. Then you got Oklahoma being led by Nick Anderson. That were had 10 touchdown catches as a true freshman last year. Well, as a freshman, I don't know if he was a true freshman. Then you got Deion Burks. That was the number one receiver at Purdue. And then you got quarterback Jackson Arnold. That was a 5-star. He's the reason why Dylan Gabriel left and went to the number one wide receiver group with Tez Johnson over there in Oregon. Then let's move on to the U with one of the top, I'll say top 5 quarterbacks, Cam Ward. He inherits Xavier Restrepo, who had 85 catches and over 1,000 yards last year, and Jacoby George, that had 57 catches and I believe over 800 yards last year. Both all ACC wide receivers. And then he got the burner out of Houston, Sam Brown. Yeah, downtown Sam Brown, because he's going to take him downtown, baby. Sam Brown had 62 catches and 815 yards in a Houston team that was kind of overmatched in their first year in the Big 12 in Power 4 football, but he still stepped up to the occasion. And you also have Isaiah Horton replacing Kobe Young as the big guy. And they got a 5-star in JoJo Trader and a high 4-star in Nye Carr, along with Ray Joseph. Just go pick up College Football 25 and you'll see the type of receivers Miami has. Yeah, the U is coming back. Then you got USC with last year's 5-star standout wide receiver, true freshman. Now he's a sophomore, Zachariah Branch. He's a return man. Punt return, kick return, reverses, catching it, deep routes, short routes. He does it all. But you also have Jacoby Lance, you have Mekhi Lemon, and you have Kyle Ford along with Deuce Robinson. So it's a lot going on, and they're being led by Miller Moss. I asked my mom, that's a joke with me and Jay. You're going to see Jay tomorrow. He had like 5 or 6 touchdowns in the bowl game against Louisville. The quarterback, Miller Moss at USC. See the phone messing up again. I'm like, Mom, can I get a Miller Moss jersey? Yeah. You when a kid, I'm not saying me, but if I was a little kid, you know how we used to like Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, if you're old enough. Miller Moss is that guy at USC. It's the reason why USC went and got a transfer quarterback, and he's a backup. He transferred to be a backup, and Georgia wanted him. He turned down Georgia to come and back up Miller Moss because Miller Moss is just that good. So, Mom, to all the little kids, ask your mom, can I get a Miller Moss jersey? Because Miller Moss is the truth. Okay, so that's number 10. Now to top out the top 25, we got LSU, 11, 12, Tennessee, 13, SMU, 14, Notre Dame, 15, Louisville, 16, TCU, 17, North Carolina, 18, Arizona, 19, Alabama. I told you about them. 20, Kentucky, 21, Texas A&M, 22, North Carolina State. That's too low. They got Concepcion. That's too low. 23, Appalachian State. 24, Florida. Hey, the secret is out. The secret is out. You got Trey Wilson, Elijah Badger. You got Aiden Mizell. I'm not going to tell nothing else. Florida got it. And then you got Kansas at 25. So I like Notre Dame at 14. LSU at 11. That's cool. Tennessee at 12. SMU 13. They pretty good. Louisville, I don't have a lot to say about it. Maybe Carolina's too low at 17 because we just got to take the benefit of the doubt until Mac Brown is proven wrong. Because every year he got a quarterback and some wide receivers that he's sending to the NFL. Now, who really wants to win? The reason why I say that, because tomorrow we got the NFL show probably. We're going to have a lot of games for the preseason again. I'm hearing word on the street. The Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing their starters again. That means they really want to win. And they lost a starter, but he's going to be back soon, probably a couple weeks in Kansas City. But they're trying to figure out their wide receivers, and they're about winning. They're scared money don't make no. All this, Aaron Rodgers can't practice. Aaron Rodgers can't play. Even Tua, I heard, is asking Coach Mike McDaniel, can he play? Now, I don't know because Tua kind of fragile, but maybe put him out there a series and y'all better hold. Don't even block. Y'all better hold. Catch a penalty. Do not let Tua get hit. No, knock on wood. Knock on wood, knock on steel. We got to protect Tua. I'm not even going to speak that. Tua will be safe. He probably going to score to Tyreek Hill and then go sit on the bench because we got a backup quarterback battle anyway. We looking to maybe trade for a backup quarterback unless Mike White show better. We brought him home. He a Broward County guy, but you got to show out. Just because you at home don't mean get distracted, Mike White. Same thing with Skyler. You guys got to step up. Skyler played in a playoff game against Buffalo and did okay. He was good at Kansas State. What's going on, Skyler? Don't get distracted by South Beach or whatever. You got to play better. The backup quarterbacks for Miami, you didn't do so well last week. You did well enough to win, but come on, let's bring it. Skylar Thompson. Okay, now let's move forward to our last topic, playing out of position. Now, this is really a Miami and a Florida State thing. Florida State starting defensive back at safety is Devontae Brown, the big brother of Damari Brown. He was a corner last year, tearing it up at Miami because he was all AAC, which is a group of 5 conference at UCF. But he had a holding problem. And I said they should not have sent him to the portal. They should have moved him to safety. A lot of okay corners make great safeties. When you think about the Charles Woodson, you think about the Rod Woodson, it's just a transition. If you're a step slower and not so quicker, but you still have the mind of a DB. Well, guess what? He started for probably, we're going to see when they come out with the ranks, the number 1 defensive back group or number 2 or 3 in the nation for Florida State. And they got Conrad Hussey coming off the bench behind him that rotates in, and he's made plays already. But Devontae Brown's so good there next to Shaheem Brown that they got to let him start. So Miami, you could have had that because we have a slight safety problem at Miami. But I have the solution, Miami. You got another Devontae Brown on your team. You don't even realize it. I mentioned him earlier. Jadaeus Richards. He's good against certain receivers, but he's better if he's at safety. That would help Meesh Powell go down to the nickel, or when they need to rotate somebody with Jaden Harris and Meesh Powell, or somebody just to be out there comfortable with twos when Zaquan Patterson goes out there. Even though I know Dylan Day is Guidry's guy out of Louisiana, because Guidry likes the Louisiana guys. He's from there, and he's a great position coach. I said that to some guys the other day. He's not just a good defensive coordinator. He's a great position coach. So I think they need to switch Jadaeus Richards and Markeith Williams because he's great at covering at safety. He's fast. He's great at playing the ball, but he's very small. Even with him gaining weight, he's still like $175. He's very skinny. He can be a liability at safety, but I don't think he's a liability at corner because he tries to hit. He doesn't have the weight. So I think you should put Markeith, the ball hawk, at corner, and you should put Jadaeus at safety, and then you guys will be closer to what Florida State has. That's just my opinion. Shout out to the U. Shout out to Florida State. Let me pull the picks back up before we end the show. So this is the MLB picks. And while I'm doing that, I would deeply appreciate – hold on. Let me put the logo back. I did it at the logo. Yeah, I'm still learning StreamYard. You guys work with me. Okay, please. It's also at the bottom line. I forgot to do the ticker. Man, I'm all over the place today. Okay, so yeah, the Cash App, if you like to donate to the channel, is $TYRebel22. And those are the MLB picks for today. Let's try to find the WNBA picks. We're going to do that after. But let me find the ticker. I did the whole show without the ticker, man. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a second to look at it. Okay, so follow me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at Ty Sports Picks 24. Yeah, man, hey. Sometimes I make mistakes. Okay. And the Cash App is $TYRebel22. So we got Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ty Sports Picks 24. And then the Cash App is $TYRebel22. The Rebel is for Ole Miss Rebel, if you didn't know. And then you got the picture right there. You can scan the Cash App. So for the MLB picks, it's Toronto Blue Jays, Cincinnati Reds, New York Yankees, New York Mets, Seattle Mariners, and Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm going to leave that for a second, and then we're going to switch to the WNBA before we get out of here. So I hope you got that. Toronto, Cincinnati, Yankees, the Mets, Seattle Mariners, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cool. Now, let's go to the WNBA. We got the Indiana Fever, the Seattle Storm, and the Connecticut Sun. I'm learning you guys' names. I'm getting more familiar with them. take the spread on all of them because women's basketball is a lot more reliable. You know, no disrespect to the men, but the women, you know how they are in life, whatever. They're a lot more reliable. You know, you can count on them. You know, men, you know, they want to do what they want to do. You know, yeah, but women, even women basketball, you know, it's a lot more fundamental. You know, you want to see the slam dunks, the threes. You look at the men. If you want to just see technical basketball, you go watch European basketball or women's basketball. So I expect the spreads to be what they are. They hit, you know, before, so I believe they'll hit again. So we got Indiana Fever, Seattle Storm, and Connecticut Sun. That's the show for the day. I'm gonna get out of here. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the NFL games.